Good afternoon and welcome to your 4 to 5. I'm Maddie Gardner, joined by Eric Chilton and Taheshah Moist this afternoon. Of course, we are an interactive news show. We want you to chat with us on all of our live streams. That means YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And we will chat back. Just use our hashtag 4 to 5. Well, let's get straight to your 4 to 5 roundup this Tuesday afternoon, and we will begin with big news regarding the Postal Service. Greensboro native and Postmaster General Louis DeJoy says he is pausing operational changes at the post office until after the election. Now, you may be aware people have been slamming recent cuts to the Postal Service, concerned that the changes would impact mail-in ballots arriving on time. DeJoy says he is making these changes to avoid even the appearance of an impact on election mail. DeJoy is set to testify about the Postal Service before the Senate on Friday and the House on Monday. New at 4, the Department of Corrections says one of the men convicted of killing Michael Jordan's father will be released on parole. Larry Demiri and Daniel Green were both convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison for James Jordan's death, but Demiri was approved for parole. He could be released in August of 2023 if he remains in good standing. The Forsyth County Sheriff's Office is investigating a chase and crash that killed a juvenile. Sheriff's deputies say they tried to stop a vehicle driving erratically without a license plate overnight. They say the driver refused to stop, lost control, and hit a utility pole. The juvenile died and the driver and 2 passengers survived. Police have not released the names of the victims. Today, officials in Sparta gave an update after the 5.1 magnitude earthquake last Sunday. They say the damage is worse than they initially thought. 525 buildings were damaged in the quake. 60 buildings are considered to have major damage, meaning 40% of the structure was lost. 19 people lost their homes and the Red Cross is helping them out. Now, you can donate to the Red Cross to help their cleanup efforts, but the mayor of Sparta says you need to specify that you want that money to go to earthquake relief in Allegheny County. TikTok is launching a new website to fight claims that the app poses a threat to national security. They say the goal is to counter claims by the Trump administration that the app, that's owned by a Chinese company, is a tool for Beijing to spy on Americans. It highlights previous points TikTok has made about privacy concerns, saying user data is stored in Virginia with backup in Singapore and strict controls on employee access. It also says TikTok has never provided any U.S. user data to the Chinese government.
COVID-19 has many colleges taking a hard look at their back-to-school plans, and today many UNC Chapel Hill students are on their way back home after the university announced they were moving to remote learning. Now, the university started in-person classes last week and in the same time frame experienced 4 COVID clusters on campus. So in an effort to curb the spread, starting tomorrow, all classes will be taught remotely. Most students are coming back home, but if they don't have a place to stay, don't have internet, are international students, or are student athletes, they can stay on campus. Many triad colleges and universities are keeping an eye on Chapel Hill as they prepare to start their semesters. WFMY News 2's Grace Holland will have more on local schools and students impacted coming up on WFMY News 2 at 5 and 6. But many are worried about COVID on college campuses after seeing videos like this. This video was posted to social media and shows a party attended by University of North Georgia students Saturday night. While the party was off campus, the university said they're disappointed many of their students chose to attend and ignore COVID guidance. And you might remember this video from a few weeks ago of North Carolina A&T freshmen gathering around their clock tower. The university broke it up quickly and stressed to students the importance of following proper COVID guidelines.
Well, today was day 2 of classes for most traditional school students here in the Triad. After a first day filled with error messages for students across the state, we are hearing that day 2 went smoothly. WFMY News 2's Adoria Chumba spoke with parents and teachers, and we'll have more on WFMY News 2 at 5 and 6. But there are some ways that parents can improve the remote learning experience. Saul Kahn, founder of a nonprofit educational organization that gives free online lessons, shared some tips. Kahn also says that parents should focus on things like basics, reading, writing, and math. You need to set goals for the day and the week so your kids know what's achievable, and give them some social interaction with the teacher, with the parent, and with other students.
And so the key is not to set expectations too high, because that'll just set everyone up for stress and disappointment. And this is a time where we have enough things to stress about, especially for parents. If parents are stressed out, then kids are going to feel stressed out, and they're going to have a harder time learning.
Well, we want to see how you are set up for remote learning. Check out some of the pictures that we have already received, and we want you to share your setup as well. You can upload your pictures in the WFMY News 2 app. It is absolutely free, or if it's easier, you can also text them to us. The number to send those pictures to is 336-379-5775.
The Democratic National Convention is in full swing virtually. It kicked off last night with the Democrats presenting their vision of the country's future. Now, the first night featured a series of speakers, including Bernie Sanders, Amy Klobuchar, and former First Lady Michelle Obama.
If you think things cannot possibly get worse, trust me, they can and they will if we don't make a change.
Speakers characterized President Donald Trump as a failed and dangerous leader. They presented presumptive nominee Joe Biden as the candidate with the character and experience the nation needs. And the theme of unity rang loud and clear from people on both sides of the aisle.
To everyone who supported other candidates in the primary, and to those who may have voted for Donald Trump in the last election, the future of our democracy is at stake. The future of our economy is at stake.
I'm sure there are Republicans and independents who couldn't imagine crossing over to support a Democrat. They fear Joe may turn sharp left and leave them behind. I don't believe that.
The convention continues. 17 Democratic rising stars will give a keynote address. Among them, former Georgia gubernatorial nominee Stacey Abrams. We'll also hear from former Presidents Carter and Clinton and Joe Biden's wife, Jill Biden. And don't forget, the Republican National Convention is next week. Most of the party business will be conducted in Charlotte, but there's still no word on where President Trump will give his acceptance speech.
We want to verify the rules of weddings here in North Carolina. The pandemic is the ultimate wedding crasher for spring and summer nuptials, but will it stop weddings scheduled for later this year? Well, we have wondered what wedding guests should know amid the ongoing pandemic. What are the rules for North Carolina weddings during COVID-19 and Phase 2 restrictions? Our sources are Kelly Connor, Communications Manager with North Carolina's Department of Health and Human Services, and Triad-based wedding coordinator Mimi McGinn. Connor points to Governor Roy Cooper's Phase 2 Executive Order 151, extended for the third time through at least September 11th. It caps mass gatherings at 25 people outside and 10 people inside. Wedding ceremonies are exempt from the mass gathering limits, but receptions have to comply. Connor explained the limit applies regardless of whether the venue, like a restaurant, is allowed to be open under Phase 2. So if you're invited to an upcoming wedding, you're either one of the 10 to 25 chosen guests, or the couple might be making some changes come soon. Coordinator McGinn said, quote, "Many of my couples have wanted to go ahead and get married, adhering to the capacities restrictions and planning a larger gathering on an anniversary date. Couples have been very concerned with keeping their loved ones safe. They have decided to get married and adjust their budget to add professional streaming services and a finished video." That said, if you are a couple wanting to get married soon, she suggests that you get wedding insurance, especially during these uncertain times. Understand all the details in your contract, cancel all vendors as soon as you know your plans have changed, and go ahead and put an alert on your calendar at least 2 weeks before a full refund cancellation deadline, just so you don't forget. In conclusion, yes, wedding receptions have limits under Phase 2, no more than 25 people outside or 10 people inside. Enforcement, though, is up to local law enforcement agencies. DHHS reminds you to call the non-emergency line, not 911, if you feel like you need to report a violation.
All right, numbers today with temperatures out there, mid-80s. It was pretty comfortable, really, even right in the middle of the sunshine. If you were out and about, we like mid-80s. We'll take that over mid-90s, that's for sure. That's what we see right now in Winston-Salem at 84. Walnut Cove, the same reading. Mount Airy, 82. Greensboro, 85. Let's show you what we see tonight. Partly cloudy, pleasant conditions, and 66 for the morning temperatures. That is really good. 83 tomorrow. Notice the downturn with daytime highs. We'll see increased cloud cover, but the chance of rain, unfortunately, especially for the next few days in the late day period, does go up to a good 50+ percentage points for a chance there. We see a little bit of rain right now in the mountain and foothill communities. No watches or warnings to talk about there. And on the broad picture here, when we zoom out to a wider shot, we're going to be generally unstable because this stationary front, it was a cold front, now it becomes stationary right over North Carolina. And that just keeps us unsettled, as we said. Look for those rain chances up to 50%. That'll be Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Highs in the low 80s. Back to the mid 80s Saturday, Sunday, and a more normal 40% chance late day Saturday, but a dry Sunday with a 20% chance. We'll be back.
I can hear you out of my, not out of my ears, but out of the computer. So I'm hearing double. So what that means is that everyone else is going to be able to hear, because how I transmit is through my laptop. So normally I hear you guys through my earpieces. Yes. So when you're going to give me time cues, everyone else is going to hear it also. So, I mean, the audience. Oh my gosh, yes, it is. Thank you.
Welcome back to your 4 to 5. COVID-19 means this year's political conventions and debates will look very different. And with the Democratic National Convention this week and the Republican National Convention next, as well as upcoming debates on virtual formats, the way voters get a sense of whether they like or trust candidates will be different. So today we want to talk about their body language. We know that voters use body language as a way to judge candidates. So Blanca Cobb is here today to explain that more. If body language analysis is limited, then how else can voters get a sense of the candidates? And Blanca, you say that the voters should really focus on the candidates' words. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, you can get a really good sense of what somebody means if you listen to the words that they choose to use. For example, let's talk about personal pronouns. A personal pronoun like I. So when you're listening to a candidate, you want to make sure that you hear that they're making a commitment to making a change or doing something. They will demonstrate this by saying, I will X, Y, or Z. If they drop that personal pronoun I and they say will do X, Y, or Z, then you know that they're not committing to what they're actually saying. So it's listening to those nuances. Also, if they say the pronoun we or me, you just have to make sure that you're really listening to the full sentence.
And voters, of course, want to know if candidates will then keep their words. So you say to listen to words of commitment. Well, what do you mean by that, Blanca?
Yeah, so you want definitive words. There's a difference of saying I think versus I will. So you want a candidate who's going to come out of the gate saying I will do X, not I think. And it can be a little tricky too, because they can say something like, You can bet my administration will. That sounds really strong, and it sounds better than there's a chance my administration will. Do you hear that difference? It's those words that they're using. Let me give you some other words that lack commitment, like think or possibly or maybe or perhaps or probably. Those are the types of words you really want to pay attention to.
Gotcha. And listening to a way that a candidate answers a question can certainly give voters a sense of whether they're going to be straightforward. How can we pick up on that, Blanca?
That's a great question, Maddie. Listen to if they're actually answering the question asked. A lot of times candidates will give an answer, but it may not answer the question. And then you have to think to yourself, why? Why are they not answering that particular question? And where are they going with that answer? Where are they trying to distract you from? Where are they taking you? Because what do they really want for you to know? That gives you a sense. If they're not going to level and answer that question, you really have to ask yourself, why? Why wouldn't they?
All right, Blanca, thank you so much for those tips. The 4 to 5 is coming back right after this short break. Stick around.
Longer than I thought. Yep. Can you hear me, Cam? Yeah, I don't know. Manning usually edits those down to about 2 minutes. So is Manning back tomorrow, or do we know? Okay. Yeah, I know. I'll chat with Jeff just to make sure he knows that, because the interviews go on. We kind of keep it around 1:45 to 2 usually. So.
Usually gives us like choreography, who speaks first, second, third, so that we're not stepping on toes with delays.
So the pandemic has affected the economy really in unprecedented ways. Small businesses have really taken it on the chin, but there's one local museum that's preserving their history. I spoke with Carol Hart of the Greensboro History Museum about this project.
Carol, pretty interesting. We know that some companies, businesses, sometimes long-standing businesses, didn't survive the pandemic. You guys decided to document this, and let's talk about one of the local favorites, Smith Street Diner. What did you do with that?
Yeah, we got a call from the owner, and when she said she had to close up due to the impact of the COVID-19 virus, and were we interested in anything, we said of course we were, and our staff went down there and we acquired some things that will remind people of the business, like menus and a table and some chairs, a t-shirt. We know in future years, when people are looking back at this time and hearing stories about the economic impact, to put names and faces and real things to that is very important.
That is a local favorite. And one thing, you told me that you guys are still looking for others, right? It's important that we preserve even the companies that kind of suffered through all of it.
Yeah, again, it's another point of time that we're in where people are suffering. Businesses that have been with us for a very long time, like Smith Street Diner, are closing, and other businesses maybe that had just opened are not able to survive the downturn. So we're looking to document all these stories and to preserve this point in time for future generations.
And quickly, we should probably note too, Smith Street Diner was famous before it was Smith Street Diner, wasn't it?
Yeah, before Smith Street Diner, it was Robinson's Restaurant, and it was an African American owned business for over 30 years. And we actually have some stools from and other memorabilia from that restaurant. One reason in particular is because when Bill Clinton came to town, back when he was running for president, he stopped at the restaurant and had breakfast. So we have that continuing thread of businesses at that location with artifacts from Robinson's and now artifacts from Smith Street Diner.
Well, it's great work you guys are doing. Thank you so much for preserving our history, even though sometimes history is right now. Thanks, Carol.
Thank you.
All right, so if you need more information on this, all you have to do is go to their website. I've linked you to that through this story on WFMYnews2.com. So I asked you on Facebook, if you could bring back a business from way back in the day, what would it be? And boy, did people get excited. I had about 90 comments in the first hour here. So Jane L. Job says, Brown and Company in Elon, North Carolina, best spaghetti and turkey melts I ever had. Sharon Greenwood said something close to my heart, Randleman's Drugstore in Mount Airy. I remember it well. Also Triangle Pizza, she said, off Stratford in Winston-Salem. Sally says Boring Castle. I hear about that a lot. Guilford Dairy, also on West Market. Joy says the Rockola Cafe. They had the best taco salads. I remember when where Kickback Jack's is in Greensboro used to be Rockola. Mary Shepard said, I would bring back service merchandise. I remember that. And Bob Campbell, man, went way back here. Piedmont Airlines, bring that back. That was a low-cost, nice airline that was based right here in the Triad. Very cool.
Now, I know we talked about this maybe last week of some old stores that we wish were back. And for me, I really loved going to Blockbusters with my cousins. I know there's still one in existence, not quite the same, but I love the process of just going to pick something out on Friday night.
Right, and you get the snacks at the register, and then you never return the VHS on time, and you get charged a late fee when you show up at the register. Maybe that was just my family. I think I have to take it hyper local. There was a donut shop in Mount Airy called Hole in One Donuts. It was right off 52, and they had the best donuts, and I missed that. I wish they would make a comeback, or maybe just, you know, bring me some donuts to snack on during quarantine.
Do that.
Yeah.
We could do that.
Chilton.
I just want to see the stickers again that say "Be Kind, Rewind." Remember that in Blockbuster?
From Blockbuster?
Yes,
always rewind. All right, the 4 to 5 is heading to break, but remember, we are live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, so join our conversation there.
While many businesses are closing their doors in the pandemic, one Greensboro woman is opening hers. My Sweet Little Bake Shop opened to customers earlier this month. I spoke with the owner, who says the community support is unmatched.
It's always been my dream to open my own bakery, and I've been working towards saving for it for years.
Dee Dee Williams is now living her dream. She opened My Sweet Little Bake Shop on North Elm Street in Greensboro in early August.
It's surreal to be able to go, oh my gosh, that's my place.
She moved to Greensboro initially for a corporate job, but she was always baking on the side. In fact, that's how she bonded with her mother growing up.
We were always baking. We were baking cakes for our parties. My mom was a big party person. Everything got celebrated.
But there came a point in her career when she said she had to just go for it.
I finally had my conversation with myself, and it said, hey, you need to either get on with this or stop talking about it. This is your dream, you gotta go get it. And so I decided to take that leap of faith.
Here you'll find custom and ready-to-order cakes, gourmet cupcakes, and a lot of love.
I get up and I'm so excited to come in every day and start baking and start, seeing people.
Williams says the community support so far means the world to her.
People who have never met me have brought me flowers, have wished me luck, have said, I'm so proud of you. And I'm like, they don't even know me and they're proud of me. I just, can't thank this city and community enough for helping me make my dreams come true.
Now, Williams says she hopes to see you at the shop. She adds those cupcake flavors change every week. So if you want to know what to expect that week on the menu, you can find that on the business's Instagram page, on Facebook, and also on their website. More of the 4 to 5 when we come back.
Hello, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie. They forever go together like a classic combination.
Welcome back to your 4 to 5. I'm Maddie Gardner, joined by Taheshah Moyse and Eric Chilton. We have the whole crew back together this afternoon. Of course, this is an interactive newscast. We like to chat with you on our live streams. Just use our hashtag 4 to 5. Well, let's begin here by getting to your 4 to 5 roundup. Postmaster General Louis DeJoy says he will suspend changes at the post office to avoid the appearance of any impact on election mail. He did not say which initiatives he would hold off on. This after the removal of mailboxes and mail sorting machines at branches across the nation. DeJoy has also agreed to appear at an emergency hearing on Capitol Hill this Friday to answer questions about what's going on. Coca-Cola tweeted Monday that its employees will have a day off on Election Day in the U.S. The announcement came on Twitter after comedian Sarah Silverman tagged several national companies asking if they would, quote, step up and make Election Day a day off. The next day, Coke responded saying, we're in. Coca-Cola is one of more than 600 companies that are making accommodations for workers to vote, such as paid time off on Election Day or providing resources for mail-in ballots and early voting. Well, today marks 100 years since the United States Constitution was changed to guarantee women the right to vote. The 19th Amendment makes it so Americans cannot be denied the right to vote based on sex, but the amendment was far from inclusive. Native Americans and Chinese immigrants were not granted voting rights, and black women were subjected to Jim Crow laws and not fully enfranchised until the Voting Rights Act of 1965, a full 45 years later. Today, on the 100th anniversary of that amendment, President Donald Trump pardoned Susan B. Anthony, a leader of the women's suffrage movement. She was arrested for voting illegally in 1872. The president said he was surprised that no one had pardoned Anthony before. And former President Barack Obama revealed what he's been jamming to all summer long. He released his 2020 summer playlist that he says is getting him through quarantine, saying he spent a lot of time listening to music with his family. The star-studded list is a mix of genres and eras. It includes artists like Beyonce, Leon Bridges, John Legend, Billie Eilish, The Chicks, and Jennifer Hudson.
Night one of the Democratic National Convention is in the books. We saw keynote speeches from Michelle Obama, Bernie Sanders, and others, and we had our Verify team fact-checking those speeches. Here's our Jason Puckett with a few of the claims.
Let's start with a claim from Nevada Senator Catherine Cortez Masto.
In 2016, 33 million Americans voted by mail.
This is true. According to data from the Elections Assistance Commission, about 33 million people sent their ballots by mail in 2016. And Palm Beach County voting records show that President Trump and the First Lady have both been sent absentee ballots for 2 elections this year. Next, a claim from actress Eva Longoria. She was hosting the first night, and while talking about the United States Postal Service, she said this.
Social Security beneficiaries count on the post office to get their checks.
This is a claim we first saw from former President Barack Obama and Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi. This is true, but needs context. Data from the Social Security Administration does show that out of the 64 million payments each month, about 550,000 Americans do receive paper checks in the mail. That is less than 1%. The other 99% get their payments through direct deposits. Now a claim from Senator Bernie Sanders.
Joe supports raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour. This will give 40 million workers a pay raise.
It is true that Joe Biden wants to raise the minimum wage to $15. That's one of the main platform points on his campaign website. But would raising the minimum wage, quote, give 40 million workers a pay raise? Well, Sanders is giving an accurate representation of this report from the Economic Policy Institute. It found that raising the minimum wage would give 28.1 million people a direct pay raise, and another 11.6 million would see the, quote, spillover effect as employers raise wages in order to attract and retain employees. In total, that's about 39.7 million workers. Folks, we have more Verify fact checks of the DNC on our website. If you see a claim you want us to look into, send us an email. With your Verify, I'm Jason Puckett.
Well, night two will feature speeches from 2 former presidents and presumptive nominee Jill Biden, the wife, I should say, of the presumptive nominee. You can watch that at 10 o'clock tonight right here on WFMY News 2.
We have been made aware that there was a fake WFMY News 2 Instagram account circulating online, and it has since been taken down. But we want to make sure that you know how to spot a real Instagram account from a fake one. So let's take a look. This is a screenshot of the fake Instagram account. At first glance, it may look legit, but taking a closer look, there are only 5 people following the account. There are several misspellings on the page, like the handle has 2 F's in WFMY, and then in the description, triad is spelled wrong. The profile picture, also pretty blurry. But I think the biggest red flag that should be out there is there is not a blue check mark by the account name. Now, this is how you know it's a verified account. And here's a look at the verified WFMY News 2 Instagram account. You can see that blue check mark, and you can also see there are over 32,000 followers and more than 5,000 posts. So if you ever think that you've spotted a fake Instagram account for WFMY News 2 or any social media account, please let us know. And if there's something that you want to be verified, you can go ahead and email us. For WFMY News 2, I'm Stacey Spivey.
Of course, the virus has changed the way most of us do everything, right? Most notably our jobs. Some schools, businesses, and offices are reopening, but it is presenting plenty of challenges for both workers and employees. Now, in a LinkedIn study, 69% of working professionals say their workplaces are now open, and 31% say they are required to return, but 57% say they aren't comfortable doing so. Experts say if you're not comfortable returning or if it creates childcare concerns, talk to your boss. Go to them with a proposal that works for both the employer and employee during the pandemic. Now, of course, because of the pandemic, many of us have had to cancel our vacations, right? Well, one company in Maine is letting its employees trade up to 40 hours of PTO towards student loan debt. I asked you on Facebook what you would use that extra money for if you were in the same position. Both Wanda Creedle and Jolie Myers say bills. Darlene says, my personal pocket. I feel you there. And Mary Johnson just commenting on the situation, saying each December we have the option to cash out our next year's advance annual leave and use money however we want, but it's best to save some in case of emergencies. She goes on to say, during my cancer treatment, I would not have gotten paid if I hadn't saved a lot of my sick and annual leave. Now, I do, guys, love the idea of being able to cash in your PTO. I know for us, it's kind of a use it or lose it type deal. So I would love to be able to get 3 days back or even roll over into the next year. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I would certainly take the cash money option with this one if I had leftover days, but I really do cherish my time off and like to relax and just unwind on days like that. So I try to use as much of it as I can, but if there's an instance where I can't use all of it, yeah, it'd be nice to get that money back. Chilton, thoughts?
Yeah, I worked for a TV station many years ago that would allow you to do that in Florida, and they would say you can catch. So usually I kept all my days off, but once in a while, as it got toward Christmas time, I'd say, okay, you can take 2 days back because I got to buy some presents.
I will trade you these 2 days for a Tickle Me
right.
Elmo. And
Exactly.
Awesome.
So true. So true. All right, let's talk about our forecast, shall we? And we've got some decent stuff going on right now. Hey, temperatures. Not arguing about that. I mean, we've seen temperatures mostly, mid 80s today, mid to upper 80s, and that's where we should be. So we're right in that comfortable spot. Now, you look at the radar, we do see a couple of showers. Most of it has been northwest. That is a front that is slowly kind of working its way back down south and east, and it will stall out over us. We check to make sure there are no watches and warnings in effect, and there are not. We go out wide here. I just want you to see it's a little unstable back to the north and west around Kentucky and West Virginia. That will sag down to the south, and that front will just become stationary right over North Carolina. You can see that actually happening, and it just kind of sits there. So it brings our rain chances up a smidge over the next several days. We'll keep it at a 50-50 shot. That's for late day pop-up showers and storms. But look at the highs, 83 tomorrow, 81 Thursday, 80 on Friday. Back to the mid 80s this weekend, and the pattern does just the opposite as we see our temperatures the rain chances going down to a measly 20%. That's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Highs go back up to the mid to upper 80s.
Right, so in case folks missed it, Postmaster General Louis DeJoy issued a statement just a few hours ago.
Right, he said to make sure that the post office is ready for all of the election mail, he is suspending all of those changes you've been hearing about.
That's right, we're going to give you a close-up look here. This is a quick recap. Retail hours won't change. Mail processing equipment and collection boxes stay where they are. No facilities are closed, and overtime will be used to get the job done. So total reversal there. Here's a few facts we wanted you to know about the post office that maybe you don't know. The post office gets none of your tax dollars. All of the money they use to operate is generated by the sales of postage, products, and services. The Postal Service processes and delivers 48% of the entire world's mail. Can you imagine? And the Postal Service is one of the largest employers of military veterans with 97,000. And the Postal Service is the only organization in the country that regularly delivers to every residential and business address in the nation. A few facts there. Hey, tonight at 5:30, we want you to get the facts on elections here in North Carolina. You can text your questions 336-379-5775. Guilford County Board of Elections Director Charlie Collicutt will be here to answer them. Maybe you want to know how will polls be safe for you for in-person voting, or what happens if you get an absentee ballot but then you want to vote in person. You can text your questions. It all starts at 5:30.
Should hear me now. Mic check 1 2. I need to get more batteries for my mic. It's a little worrisome. And when do I hit though? Am I right off the top? Oh, what is the chat about exactly? Yep, 22%. Yep. Yep.
Well, hard to believe, but we are just a few weeks from the start of NFL season. The Panthers are practicing in pads, getting ready for that season. WFMY News 2's sports anchor Luke Liddon has more on how the team is staying healthy during the dog days of camp. Luke, what's going on?
Yeah, Maddie, I think we all like off days, right? I don't think any of us would complain if our bosses gave us an extra day off or two. I don't think I would. I don't think you would. I don't think anyone would. But for the Panthers, the same can be said for them, especially during the dog days, those tough, rigorous days of training camp. Now, head coach Matt Rule says one of the team's first off days is coming up, but also reiterated there's always something each player can do to better themselves during that time, and that includes taking care of their bodies. That's one thing Rule and his staff focused on this offseason to make sure all of his Panthers will be healthy when it counts the most.
but what you see is a commitment to the guys taking care of their bodies. And one of the things that we've done here since last year is we've made a commitment to our players and their health and their physical well-being and their mental well-being and all those things. And so, but we want to make sure that we give our players the best of the best. And if they're going to go out and lay it on the line for us, then we want to make sure we have what they need.
Remember, everything's also a little different this season when it comes to the NFL because of COVID-19 and no preseason games this year, so camp is going to be more important than usual, you'd think. The Panthers' home opener is September 13th against the Las Vegas Raiders.
All right, Luke, I want you to stick around for this next story because we know the Panthers say they're going to reduce the capacity at Bank of America Stadium this upcoming season because of COVID-19. We haven't heard how much they're going to reduce the capacity to, but your Super Bowl champions, the Chiefs, actually put a number on it. They say they're reducing the capacity by 22%, so that means instead of seating 76,000 fans, they'll seat 17,000, and they're going to sit in grouped pods of seats. But will fans still go to NFL games? I asked you on my Facebook page. Kelly Orr said, yes, I would go. Bobby Odom said, I would go to an NFL game this season. It would take everyone wearing a mask and social distancing between everyone. But Caleb Holder said, couldn't pay me to go. And Cheryl Winchester Petit said, no, I wouldn't go to an NFL game this season or any other. I'm not a football fan. However, if social distancing is followed and masks are worn, then go for it. Now, if the MLB were to do something like that, then that would be great. So we have a baseball fan thrown in there too. So Luke, we'll start with you. Would you be okay going to watch an NFL game this season?
That's a tough question. I think I would be, but halfway through the season. I don't think the season opener I'd be fully comfortable. I know 70,000 compared to 17,000 is a big difference, but still you're at risk. You're not quite sure. I know everyone would probably wear a mask and social distancing would be required, which I think is a great plus, but week 1, no. Week 9, I think so.
Kind of see how it all pans out there. Taheshah, thoughts on this?
Nah, I'm good right here where I'm sitting in my living room. No thanks. I'll watch from home.
Best seat in the house right there. Chilton?
I agree with Luke a little bit. I would give it maybe 2 or 3 games, and then I would like to go. What is going to be interesting, though, is to see what the price of those tickets do when you cut that audience down. There will be diehards that will pay a lot of money. We'll see how it goes.
Interesting. All right, share your thoughts. Use our hashtag 4 to 5. We are streaming right now on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, and we chat with you during the breaks. We'll be right back.
Hi there. I can hear you. It's not on yet. It's not on yet. I mean, it's not on me yet, but I can hear you. Wonderful, wonderful. Alabama, Alaska.
Well, 2020 has been a year that we will never forget, whether we try to or not. It seems like it's definitely historic. We can all agree on that. No one knows that better than the folks at the Greensboro History Museum. I spoke with Carol Hart, the director there, to see how they are preserving tomorrow's history today. Carol, it's interesting when someone brought this up to me recently. I don't think I would have thought about it right away, but you guys did, thank goodness. That's why you do what you do. But you saved some of the murals that were painted on the boarded up windows downtown after some protests turned into looting in some cases. But talk about that process and why preserve all of that.
Yeah, it's an interesting time we're in where people are calling us and saying, this is really an important time in history. What are you guys doing? What about all those artworks that went up on the boards downtown? And so we were called in to help preserve those, and we have brought them to the museum, and actually we have installed them in a gallery so that when we do open, hopefully in September, people will be able to experience how our community has responded to the times we are in, particularly with the reckoning of social justice and racial inequality, and the feelings of the community as expressed on the artwork and the graffiti that has become art that were on the murals downtown.
I mean, I would think this is going to be a huge display when you finally get all this together and open up. What were the feelings when you guys saw these pieces? How did they speak to you?
They're incredibly powerful. What makes this art very special is it is public art. It did speak to people, the words that are on there, the expressions of support and hope, and reckoning that this is a time for community to come together and for Greensboro to come together.
One thing is for sure, we will not forget 2020, and you guys are helping us document it all. Thanks, Carol, for taking time with us today. I will tell you that when I look through the images that she sent us, you're really moved, because you know out of such a challenging time and challenging events comes this huge ray of hope and love that comes out of this art. And I thought it was fascinating what she was doing, and I can't wait. They're not open yet, but they will have that display open when they get to that point where they can open back up.
Yeah, it's weird once again to be in a situation where you look around.
I'm so glad.
Go ahead, Taheshah. You're so glad.
Go ahead.
Well, I was saying it's weird to be able to look around.
I was just going to say that.
You just might as well stop.
Technology, right?
Yes.
All I was going to say is I'm glad that they are there in a museum for people to see, because I know not everyone was able to go downtown, and that we will have part of that history here in Greensboro, because there was that one mural that was sent up to the Smithsonian in DC. So we will have some local artists featured here in that museum.
Right. It's interesting to be able to look around and say we are living through things that are going to be in history books for years to come. All right, Chilton, give us the forecast.
I will do that. And I'll keep my little awkward 2-second delay to myself. Here's what we see with the forecast. Just a quick look at it. We are in the low 80s for the next 3 days, increased late day rain chances. Other than that, this weekend back to normal mid 80s with only a slight late day chance for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
Point-blank shooting happened 8 days ago while cannon. Yes, Bonnie Waddell refers to the last week as a nightmare, one she can't wake up from.
Hey, mic check 1 2 3 4 5. Retail hours at post office.
Hi there, Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado.